Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. We have a little more fallout from the WNBA witch hunt of Caitlin Clark fans, the smear campaign by the WNBA sports media. And we have to talk a little bit about Chiney again. And I know some people already know that she issued a apology, which I would put in quotes because it isn't anything but, and we will take a listen. But I want to play a clip from her before that that I hadn't actually played yet in any of the videos. So you may have seen this, but it is new in terms of me covering it. And I want to react to this and then also play you what she has said now, which I don't think is the apology that she wants everybody to believe it is. But we're gonna take a listen here.
Released this statement, guys. The WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. They have no place in our league or in our society. We are aware of the allegations and looking into the matter. These were the hateful fan comments during the Fever's home win against the Sky.
Now, before we even get going, and let me know if you know. I'm not sure who was saying that before going to Sinead, but did you notice, catch at the end after reading it, said, these are the hateful comments made by Fever fans. Again, passing it off as truth, as if it happened, when anybody who gets hired for a job like this should absolutely know that you use words like allegedly when talking about something like this. But no, no, no. Again, the subtle, see, they want it to sink into your brain and you start believing that, oh, well, it happened. They keep telling me that it happened, so of course it happened. But anyway, let's keep going.
Your reaction.
So this is a reaction from last year, some of the issues that the players brought up. We are used to hearing all kinds of things under the sun when you are a professional athlete, but some things like making death threats or just wishing some things ill, players that are suffering through illness or trying to recover, like coming up and trying to ruin their mental health intentionally in a way that threatens themselves as professionals. Like the players addressed it last year. And in response, on draft night, the WNBA announced.
Before she keeps going, just a reminder, because we all know she is not talking about this, all of the people who have wished, say, ACL tears on Caitlin Clark, even before this injury, but after this injury said, oh, well, this is great. I'm so glad she's hurt. I just wish it had been, an ACL tear. In fact, I think someone, and I believe I shared it with you in another video, said they wish she had torn her ACL in 8 places and all this nonsense. But of course, that's not what she's talking about.
That they have a task force to help, move forward with positivity when it comes to the rhetoric. And we saw when the WNBA season started, all of the teams put out these statements saying, we have no place for hate in this game. The number one thing is respect. Now it is tested, so early in the season, because what people are saying is that what was said or allegedly heard was out of bounds, and now the league, I'm happy, is investigating it as a move forward from what the issues were from last year to now better correct them moving forward.
I will give her credit for one tiny thing in all the nonsense she said is she did use allegedly.
I'll lastly say this. When you see that statement about how there should be no racism, no hateful rhetoric, if you have an issue with that statement, take a look in the mirror. Why are you there? Why are you here? If you're saying, oh, well, this is that, like, we should all agree. This should not be a debate. And if you are a part of a group of fans where, all right, like this happened in my arena, you should not want to condone that type of thing. Mm-hmm. We've seen it in all professional sports.
Okay, well, that's enough. She goes on with some other stuff, but let's be clear about something, and this is where the spin and the nonsense comes. Now, again, at the end, she made it sound like it's happening is because she's saying if that happens in an arena, you should be against it. Here's what people are against, dummy. Wow. Okay. We have a panel of 3 fools. We know all the stuff we've said. I covered Stephen A. an absolute fool of himself, and really probably should not have his position anymore because it kind of went talk about out of bounds. It went way over a line. Here's what people don't like. This is virtue signaling buzzword gibberish. It's not that people have a problem with that, Shanae, who should look in the mirror. It's that they're so sick of hearing it because it's used to try and make people be silent. Nobody condones those things, which is the point, which is why do we constantly need in one direction only for stuff like this to be said? It's like stop the hate. No one says hate is a good thing. No one. So what is even the point of that other than you are directing it clearly at certain people? Because as soon as this was announced, this whole ridiculous sham of a task force, you went after Indiana Fever fans based on nothing. Based on nothing. Am I speaking clearly? Okay, so now that she got her backside handed to her, Luz Erroneous, he decided to issue one of those non-apology apologies. So we're going to take a listen to this as well.
Hey everybody, I'm sure you've seen the WNBA statement on the investigation, and I want to address this with the same energy I did the first time, because if you really know me, I always try my absolute best to uplift the WNBA.
I really know you, and you don't. And also, why are you doing this in a closet as opposed to, I don't know, on ESPN where you spewed all the anti-Fever fan gibberish?
Celebrate the amazing players, the coaches, and of course the fans. That is something that is at the core of everything that I do. But if you know me, you know I'm not afraid to say I can do better. I am sorry that my message was in the heat of the moment, because when I initially spoke on the topic, it really came from a place of care. It was based on firsthand conversations with people very close to the situation.
You spoke on it multiple times in prepared statements. It wasn't in the heat of the moment. If these are firsthand conversations with people, how did the investigation find nothing? If this is such a serious thing, and it did happen, according to you, how is it they are not speaking out? Did they not speak to the WNBA?
Who raised real concerns, and they told me what they had experienced. And I felt like it was important and it was necessary to acknowledge those allegations and also voice those experiences. Now, in the process, however, I totally recognize that it may have impacted fans in a way that I did not intend, and I am sorry. I'm also happy that the WNBA treated the matter with the utmost seriousness, followed through with the investigation, and I understand that having a platform comes with a responsibility, and I do not take that lightly. So as our league continues to grow, I am going to grow with it. And I am so committed to be better in how I share perspectives and grow alongside the game that I truly love and adore.
I don't believe any of this. This is CYA stuff. She's worried about her job. Again, you say you were talked directly to people who were there and said these things were being said. Why have they not talked to the WNBA? How could the WNBA find nothing, Shanae, if you know that it was said and you know because people who were there told you that these things were being said? It's because you embrace that narrative. You've always spoken out against the Fever fans, the Caitlin Clark fans. This is not an apology in any way, shape, or form.
Some of my favorite memories as a pro was playing in Indiana, and I truly believe that WNBA, we have the most passionate fans, and I'm grateful for our community. I hope you know that's who I am.
Anyone else buying this? I gotta say, I'm not really buying this. Let's talk about this seriousness, this utmost seriousness. Of course, she's thrilled because they got an opportunity for all of the media in the WNBA to smear Caitlin Clark fans for a week and a half. Because now, Shanae, another thing you're going to have to speak out on, I want to hear your advocacy for an investigation into Brittany Griner and what she said, for an investigation into Angel Reese, who apparently, if the WNBA found nothing, Angel Reese, logic would dictate that she lied about saying that she heard these things. So I assume that you will now get on this platform of yours and say, hey, you know what, WNBA, we're gonna have to you take a look. And I advocate, and I think if we're going to continue to take these seriously, you need to take a look into Angel Reese's statements. You need to take a look into what Brittany Griner may have said while on the bench, because these have serious impacts on the WNBA. They have serious impacts on whether fans will continue to watch, which will have an impact on the new CBA. This is serious stuff, okay? So people listen to me and think, oh, you just want to talk about drama. No, these things are going to have serious impacts on the WNBA's future and what that looks like going forward, especially now more than ever with a new CBA being negotiated ahead of 2026. But let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on the sincerity of this apology, which again, even taking away everything she said, I don't think that it counts just on the fact that she said all the things that she said multiple times on ESPN, on Stephen A. Smith's show, which has a huge audience. But she's just gonna put this on what, TikTok or whatever, or X, and that's where the apology is gonna come from? Give me a break. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Comment below, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you later.